How to mark up your script for your Shakespeare Schools Festival production. What is a marked up script? A marked up script is the combination of your play script with lighting and sound cues written onto it and a cue list. It tells the theatre technicians what you want your show to look and sound like. So, your script with the lighting and sound cues written onto it, plus your cue list, together are your marked up script. So what do you need to create your marked up script? You need your Shakespeare Schools Festival script, your blank cue list, page 17 of your director handbook, a ruler and a pencil, and an idea of how you want your show to look and sound. For this tutorial, we'll be marking up a script using examples from Dartford Grammar School's 2012 production of Macbeth. Do remember your stage won't look exactly like theirs. Ready? Let's go! Choose when you want your first lighting cue to happen. I want my first lighting cue to happen right at the top of the play. So, draw a line from that point in your script across to the left-hand margin of the page and label it LX1. Now we're going to write what that lighting effect looks like on the cue list. So we want this to happen on page number 5 of the script, and we want to use lighting state number 8, the blue wash, and probably not full brightness but sort of 80% brightness. And under speed I'm going to put preset because I want that to be there before my students come onto the stage. And I'm just going to clarify for the technician that I want an eerie effect. Great! Let's have a look at what that might look like. Okay, now what about if we wanted to change from one lighting state to another? The next time there's a lighting cue, it will be a transition from the lighting state we just chose. I'm going to do that at the end of the first scene when the witches vanish. And again, label it, this time LX2. So now we'll go back to the cue list to explain what that transition looks like. We're still on page number 5, but now we are changing from lighting state number 8, the blue wash, to lighting state number 6, the white wash. And this time I want it at 100%, I just wanted the whole stage to be lit. Now the speed is going to say at what rate I want the change to happen on the stage, so whether I want the lights to fade fast or slow. So I'm going to say medium. And I'm just going to confirm for the technician that I want this to happen as the actors move into formation. So that's a visual cue for my technician. Okay, let's see what that looks like in action.
There is foul and foul despair, horror through the fog and filth.
Great! Now, what about using several states at the same time? Layering a new lighting state on top of an existing lighting state will be a new cue. This time, I'm going to make my cue happen on a word. So if I want to do that, I just circle the word. And again, draw a line across to the left-hand margin. And this is LX3. Now, on the cue list, we're on page 9 now, and I want to keep the white light, I want to keep state 6 in, but I want to layer another state on top of it. So I'll put 6 first, and then I'll put the next state, which is 8, the blue wash. So I want a combination of those two states. This time I want each of those lights to be on at about 60%, so it's quite dim. And this time, I want that change to happen immediately. And so when the change happens immediately, we call that a snap. And just to clarify for the technician, I'll say we want the snap to happen on desires, which is the word that we circled on the script. And this way I've got two lighting states happening at the same time. Okay, let's see what that looks like.
Let not light see my blind and deepest desires.
Great, this is looking fantastic. So, lighting states, of course, don't only mark the beginnings of and ends of scenes. They can also help to emphasise an important moment or a change of mood in your script, such as in Lady Macbeth's passionate speech on page 10. So again, I'm going to circle a phrase that I want this lighting change to happen on, and then draw that line, and we're on LX4 now. We go back to our cue list. LX4, we're on page 10. This time we want the change to happen slowly over the whole course of Lady Macbeth's speech. So I'm going to change from this combination of lighting states 6 and 8 to the combination 3 and 7, which is the sort of centre stage light and then the red wash. And I want quite a lot of red light, or white light, so Lady Macbeth can be seen, and then the very intense red light all over the stage as well. And because I want this to happen over the whole course of her speech, I'm going to put slow as the speed at which I want that to happen. And then just to be very clear for the technician, I'm going to explain exactly what I want to happen. So start fade on Come You Spirits, as we labelled on the script, and transition complete by Blanket. Great. Because we didn't keep lighting state number 6 in, this is a whole new set of states, and 6 and 8 will both go. Let's see what that looks like.
Come, that tend on mortal thoughts, and sex me here, and fill me from the crown to the total full of Cyrus cruelty.
Great, really effective. The SSF lighting states are very flexible. You can use the same state at different levels of brightness, and that can have quite a different effect on the stage. So let's try that with our next lighting effect. This time we'll make our light show a change of time. So we'll put it just at the end of Macbeth's speech and before Lady Macbeth comes in at night time. So draw a line across, and it is LX5. Now we go back to our cue list to explain what we want LX5 to be. It's on page 13. And I want the full stage wash, so all the white light, lighting state number 6. But this time, because I'm showing that it's night time, I don't want that to be very bright, so I just want that at 50%. And I'm going to make the transition from one state to another at a medium speed. So it's not a snap to nighttime, but just a fade into that nighttime state. Let's see what that looks like. Great! Now that we're happy with our lights, let's have a look at the sound effects for Macbeth. Sound effects work just the same way as lights do. You simply draw a line across your page to mark where they happen. So notation for sound effects is FX. So we want our very first sound effect for Macbeth to be the cue for Ross to enter the stage. So we'll put it right before he comes on stage here, and that is FX1. Now you have a cue list. On your cue list, you'll have a different section marked sound. That is where you will write your sound effects. So our FX1 is on page 5 of the script. And on the CD that we've burned for the technician, it is track number 1. I want the volume to be quite loud, but not sort of very intense. So I'm going to make it 70% volume. And I have pre-timed my track to 20 seconds. So I know this sound effects covers exactly 20 seconds of action. But I might just say that in my notes so the technician is clear. And I might, again, just to be super clear, because I've got my actors moving around the stage, give him a cue. And the cue is when the actors reach their formation. That's a visual cue for the technician. Here's how that worked for Dartford Grammar. Wonderful, really effective. Okay, but what if it's impossible to cut my track to time? If you can't cut your track, or the sound effect has to respond to the action that's happening on stage and you have to be flexible, then you need to use 2 cues. One to start the sound and one to stop it. Let's give it a try. I want this sound effect to cover the moment when Macbeth thinks he sees the dagger. So I'm going to start the sound effect just as he finishes his speech. I draw the line across and I say FX2. I'm then going to have a movement sequence in the performance. There's no lines in between the movement sequence and the next line on the script, so I'll simply write FX3 right under that. Let's see how that looks on the cue list. So we are now on page 13 of the script, and we are on track 2 on our CD. This time I'm going to put the volume at 30% because I want it to start out very quietly. And I'll say roughly 10 seconds because this time my track is not cut to length and the technician is going to have to respond to cues. And then just to explain to the technician what I really want, I'm going to say volume builds to 80% over 10 seconds. And now because that track is not timed, my next cue is going to be the end of the track. So it's still on page 13 and it's still track 2, but this time on volume I'm going to put off. And I want it to snap off immediately. And I want that snap to happen on a visual cue of Macbeth stabbing. Let's see what that looks like. Great! We hope this tutorial will help you prepare your marked up script. Before we go, here are some top tips from the festival coordinators.
You have a maximum of 20 lighting cues.
You have a maximum of 10 sound cues.
On-stage voice effects and musicians don't count as sound cues.
Remember, you can tweak brightness and volume during your tech rehearsal at the theatre.
Keep it simple and call us if you have any questions.